Alright, let's get into this. This is my horror movie collection. I chose to make this the first video on my channel because it's Cult Classics Corner, man. We're going to dive into horror, movies, cult movies in general. And later on down the road, more personal stuff. But let's do this. Let's start with 28 Days Later. It's a zombie movie, guys. Get over it. I know everybody says it's not, but it is. And 28 Weeks Later, its sequel. Superior, this one, but it's not bad to be inferior to something great. A couple of great movies, man. I hope they actually get to make part fucking 3 28 months later eventually. Next, 30 Days of Night, very underappreciated vampire adaptation of a graphic novel by Steve Niles. Visually, very cool look to it. I feel like John Carpenter could have directed a version of this that would have been really cool. But there it is, man. I think this movie deserves a lot more love. 31 from Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie, controversial figure in horror. Some people love him, some people hate him. Most people agree that he made shitty Halloween movies. 31 is a survival horror movie, you know, kind of like his version of the Hunger Games, I guess. Bad writing. Looks fantastic. He's a great visual artist, yes. But the movie, it's not that good. Richard Brake is awesome in it as Doomhead. And, you know, again, it's more for a visual thing. No, I don't hate Rob Zombie, the man. 100 Feet, a movie from Eric Red, a very underappreciated horror voice. He's the man that wrote The Hitcher, directed Body Parts and Bad Moon. And this is a movie that he directed, and it was apparently exclusive to Movie Gallery and Hollywood Video. So I had to get this Blu-ray second market status. Love this movie. It's a ghost story. Check it out. Famke Janssen stars in it. So that's a thing. 2001 Maniacs, the remake to 2000 Maniacs from Herschel Gordon Lewis. This remake is very tongue-in-cheek, but also very exploitative and offensive. The humor is supposed to be lowbrow, and it didn't age as well as I expected it to. But humor rarely does. But it is a very fun movie, and Robert Englund and Lin Shaye got jobs, so that I'm always for. Soska Sisters present American Mary. The Soska Sisters are also a divisive set of horror directors. This is unarguably their masterpiece at the moment, and that may change. But American Mary is a fantastic film. Love this cover, by the way. Catherine Isabel in the titular role, finally embracing her horror status. The Annabelle movies, 1 and 2. Or I guess technically that won't be 1 and 2. Although now there's a third one. I don't know where that one fits. But the Conjuring series as a whole is controversial to horror fans because they hate anything that goes mainstream. I actually really enjoyed these. You know, go figure. Yes, even this one I enjoyed. I really like the nods to like Rosemary's Baby and stuff in it, so that's a thing. Another controversial thing for horror fans is the idea of a found footage film. A lot of them just immediately condemn anything that's found footage. I do not. Give everything a fair shake, and this is one hell of a found footage flick. As Above, So Below. Great cover, by the way. This is a great movie. These guys, the directors of this flick, let me get their name right, the Dowdle brothers. They are a voice to look out for. They also made a movie called The Poughkeepsie Tapes, which I plan to get, which is very disturbing. The Autopsy of Jane Doe, easily one of the best horror movies of the last 10 years. Haunting and Eerie. Great cover, by the way. Very good movie. Very good movie. The Babadook. Another fantastic flick. This one from Jennifer Kent. A new voice in horror. And I look forward to seeing her next movie, which I think is called The Nightingale, if I remember correctly. But this was horror with a psychological bent, but that still was a very much upfront a horror movie. Love it. Love it. Some people find the characters annoying. They're supposed to be annoying, guys. Here's this great edition of The Beyond. 2-disc version with a great scan of The Beyond film. It looks fantastic. Glow-in-the-dark cover. And, of course, Fabio Frizzi's Fantastic score. Love the Beyond. Easily Lucio Fulci's best film. Granted, the guy didn't make a lot of good movies, but this is undeniably great. His masterpiece. Black Swan. Darren Aronofsky. I'm a huge fan of Darren Aronofsky. Black Swan is one of those movies so strange that it kind of goes in the horror movie section. Psychological horror, I'd say, more than anything, but definitely a weird movie. I love it. Blair Witch, the sequel from Adam Wingard to the original. Pretty sure it ignores what happened in part 2. I really enjoyed this, man. It was a good follow-up. You know, you can't do what part 1 did again, especially nowadays with zero attention spans. So this one upped it a little bit and still kept what was strong about the first one. I liked it more than your average Joe. Bone Tomahawk, S. Craig Zahler's Western meets fucking like cannibals movie. It's this is a hell of a movie. If it's a slow burn, as most westerns are, but boy, it's got a great cast. You know, fucking Kurt Russell and Patrick Wilson, and it has some shocking violence in it. The Boy. This is a movie I didn't expect to like, and I had to buy it once I saw it because I ended up liking it a whole lot more than I thought. It kind of subverts a lot of expectations. Every time I thought I had the movie figured out and where it was going, it just turned the dial somewhere else. I liked it, man. I hear there's a sequel coming out. Hopefully they don't fuck it up. Bride of Reanimator, the sequel to the Reanimator movie from Stuart Gordon. This one directed by his friend. You know, this is such a great movie. It doesn't get the respect, but I think Brian Hughes, another director, doesn't get respect either that he deserves in the genre. I love this movie. It's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy. Speaking of wild and crazy, Buried. This is more of a thriller, but it has Hitchcockian elements, and it's horrifying. You know, it is. Oh my God, this is an experience. Buried with Ryan Reynolds is an intense fucking movie. Cabin in the Woods. Both a love letter and a slap to the face. A loving slap to the face, mind you, to horror fans. Very clever. Tons of layers to this onion. The more you rewatch it, the more you see how clever it is. Plus, it's Lovecraftian. So there's a thing that I love. Child's Play, Part 1. Plan on getting a better version of this. Like, I think there's a Scream Factory release. Or Arrow, maybe. I don't know. But this is just, I mean, it's a classic, and this franchise is one of the most consistent franchises out there. So have that. I need to get part 2 for damn sure. And I could do without part 3. Cloverfield. Cloverfield is a big monster movie. So you won't see Godzilla on this series because Godzilla is not really horror to me. Except maybe the first original one has some elements. But Cloverfield is most definitely one that is laced with horror elements, and the found footage approach also kind of emphasizes that, so that's definitely there. I like that movie. The Conjuring movies, again, I repeat, they're controversial because they're mainstream popular. They're really good, man. James Wan really approached that 70s style of horror quite well, and on top of that, guess what? They're just good. That's it. Get over it, guys. They're good. The Craft. Here's a movie that a lot of people might snub their nose down on because it's a 90s teen horror movie. But you know what? It's a fucking great movie, man. I really liked it when I first saw it. Upon rewatching it, I was like, I gotta get a copy of this. It's so good. It's just so good. It's much more than it presents itself to be. And on top of that, it's got a bunch of hotties in it, so there's that. But I could have gotten the Scream Factory version, but I actually chose to get this version because the Scream Factory version 1 is super expensive. The custom artwork on it sucked, and the features weren't that great. And this has director's commentary on it, so and the picture's great on it. So fuck it, I got that. Plus, I really like this cover. But anyway, next we have Critters 2, 3, and 4. Don't have part 1. Why? Well, this was a box set that got released by Shout Factory or Scream Factory. And there was a factory mistake where they packaged some of the sets with 2 part 2s instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the local FYE just broke it apart and sold these for $2 a pop. I mean, can't beat that. Pay $60 for a box set, or pay $6 for 3 of them. Yeah, I'll take the 3. I'm not a huge Critters fan, so it's no skin off my back. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with that. Next, Curse and Cult of Chucky. Love these movies. These are easily my favorite movies in the Chucky series. This is Don Mancini finally just getting to do whatever the fuck he wants with the characters he created. I love these movies. Fiona Dorff was such a great addition to the series. I love how much they acknowledge everything that came before them. And, Curse is just a straight up tense horror movie, and Cult is wild. I love these movies, man. I love them. Dagon from Stuart Gordon, one of the guys that's just determined to adapt H.P. Lovecraft stuff. And this is my favorite of his works. Dagon was produced for a Spanish company, but it's in English, and it's really good if you like Lovecraft. A Dark Song. Boy, is this a great movie. Not what you expect. If you want blood and guts, it's not the way to go. This is a very subtle movie. It's more about distrust and paranoia, and people, people that have severe flaws, character flaws, trying to get to something to better themselves. But it's all under the auspices of this ritual being done. Also, the most realistic depiction of ritualistic magic I've seen in cinema. Fucking great movie. Love it. Zack Snyder's remake of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Is it better than George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead? Of course not. Is it a good movie? Hell yeah. Get that. Might get the Scream Factory version later on. I don't know. Death Proof. A lot of people consider this Tarantino's worst movie, or his only failure, I should say. I disagree. He knew exactly what he was doing, and if you're familiar with this type of exploitation film, he hit it on the head. Stuntman Mike alone saves this movie. Fucking great. I love it. Devil's Candy. It's an IFC movie, and I think an underappreciated gem. It's a really haunting and creepy approach to the idea of a devil's pact. Who says the devil would help you? Who said that? What fool said that? Devil's Doorway. This is one of the few movies I bought on a lark, thinking that I was going to like it. All the elements were in place for me to like it. Roman Catholic priests and nuns, a convent, implications of cult behavior, found footage approach to this whole thing. It's okay. It's not great. I won't get rid of it because I actually liked some stuff in it, but I think it could have been a much better movie. Devil's Rejects. Rob Zombie's best film, period. I haven't seen 3 from Hell, so I may be proved wrong then, but to date, this is his best. One of the few times his writing works. Really good visuals. He's got an eye. Dog Soldiers. Evil Dead meets werewolves, basically. Really cool. I kind of want to get the Scream Factory version, but I gotta compare the quality of the video. Also, Scream Factory version probably has commentary, which would make me want to get it. Next, Fede Alvarez's Don't Breathe. This is one hell of a take on the home invasion film. Stephen Lang is great in it. Plus, it's got Jane Levy, who's super hot. Dracula Untold. Yeah, I like it, guys. It's pretty good. Look, I rarely give any credit to the whole whitewashing controversy in Hollywood. This is one where, God, man, we're in Eastern Europe. There's Turkish people in this movie, and they're played by, the whitest people on earth. The Dracula I get. You know what I'm saying? It's an English... it's a movie made for American audiences. Eastern European, you get away with it. But the Turkish people, come on, man. Give us a little bit more of a, Turkish vibe there. But anyway, the movie itself is a fun action horror movie. Some very cool and unique ideas. Charles Dance as the main villain. Pretty cool. Bram Stoker's Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola. This is my favorite version of Dracula. Very loyal, and at the same time... takes some paths and avenues that are different. and pays homage to a lot of the versions of Dracula that have been out there while still maintaining that loyalty to the material. And it's a visual feast. It really is. Next, Drag Me to Hell from Sam Raimi. His take on Night of the Demon and just a fucking horror romp. Sam Raimi doing horror. You gotta get it. Might get the Scream Factory of that, but you know, that one has everything I need at the moment. So, Event Horizon, Lovecraftian terror in space. Paul Anderson's best movie. Of course, he hasn't made a lot of good movies, but you know, or any, some would say. But yeah, Event Horizon is a definite fucking classic. Sam Raimi again, Evil Dead 1 and 2. Gotta get them. Gotta get the single disc editions of these. Because, you know, Evil Dead's just one of those franchises that can't ever hate. Speaking of Evil Dead, the remake. One of the best remakes ever made. Fucking amazing. From Fede Alvarez, the guy that brought us Don't Breathe. Jane Levy's in this too, and as aforementioned, super sexy. But I really loved the brutality and the relentless terror of it, which is what Sam Raimi originally intended for the first one. No, it's not a funny movie, the first one. Sorry to inform you. Excision. Lynch meets Carrie. That's all I gotta say. If you like either of those things, this is something you have to check out. What a movie. Exorcism of Emily Rose. You know, kind of like a court drama meets an exorcism film. Very good and very underappreciated. I really love this movie. What do I have to say about this? One of the best horror movies of all time, but also one of the best movies of all time. Fantastic. Everything about The Exorcist is good. Everything. Not a damn thing wrong with it. I have no words. This is, if not my favorite horror movie, definitely in my top 3. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from Kenneth Branagh, starring Robert De Niro as the monster, and Branagh, of course, gonna star in his own movie. This is my favorite version of my favorite piece of classic literature. I love it. I love it a lot. But I also really love this version. Bernard Rose, the director of Candyman, did this version, and it's a kind of like a postmodern take on it, appropriately enough. Very good. Not what you expect. Great rendition of the Frankenstein story. And of course, you gotta get silly with it sometimes with this World War II set found footage flick, Frankenstein's Army. Crazy stuff. Next, this I haven't seen, and I bought it on the lark. Again, rarity, but it was super cheap. Found footage 3D. It's a Shudder movie, so I'm hoping it's good. It might not be though, but it seems to be, you know, lampooning the found footage genre. The Fly from Cronenberg. I plan on getting that Fly collection from Scream Factory that's coming out. That has all the Fly movies. But, you know, you gotta have it in the meantime. Fly. Great body horror classic from the master Cronenberg. Feast. Tongue-in-cheek, visceral, lambasting of the genre. Very good, very funny, very cool. The sequels are fucking wild, too. From the Dark. A very unique vampire movie. Kind of like Rawhead Rex, the concept, not the movie, meets I Am Legend, meets Nosferatu. Very cool movie. Underappreciated. Get Out. Come on, man. Modern classic. Easy. Green Room. This was unexpected. Really good movie, man. Plus, rest in peace, Anton Yelchin. The Hallow. Folk horror meets body horror. Very underappreciated. Very cool. Halloween and Halloween 2 from Robert Zombie. That's right. That's what I call them. These are the director's cut because... oh, fuck. Don't tell me that this is not the director's cut over here on part 1. Better be, because otherwise I'm fucking pissed. Yeah, it is. I hated... when I first saw Halloween part 1 in the theaters, I hated it. The theatrical cut is fucking awful. The unrated director's cut, it's palatable. You know, I can watch it. There's a lot of changes in there that made you go, wow, why did they put that instead of that in there? Malcolm McDowell is palatable in this, whereas in the first one, for some reason he was atrocious. You know, it's fine. It's not. Is it good? No, but I can palate the fucking director's cut. The director's cut of part 2 also can watch it. Theatrical, not so much. Do I hate them? No. Are they good? No. Bought them because they were cheap? Yes. This is something in the Halloween series that I bought. Didn't even mind what I was paying for it. This is the Steelbook of Halloween 3. This is my favorite Halloween movie. Yes, even more than the original part 1. Honestly, I only like part 1, 2, and 3 from the original series. 3 is my favorite. Always has been, always will be. Tom Atkins, baby. Come on. Happy birthday to me. Canadian slasher schlock. That's all you need to know. It's not a great movie, but it's fun. Happy Death Day is another movie that I bought on a lark because I know I'm going to like it. You know, I'll be shocked if I don't like it. Everything I read about it tells me I'm going to like it. And it was cheap, so if I don't like it, and no skin off my back, but I suspect that I will. Hatchet series. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Oops. There's 1. Adam Green. I do have Victor Crowley, the 4th one, but it's in the V's. Yeah, man. Great tongue-in-cheek approach to slasher film. If you like slasher movies, that's definitely something you gotta see. Hereditary. Ooh, this is a fucking movie, isn't it? It's fantastic. That's it. You know? Exorcist level greatness. Love it. High Tension, aka The Switchblade Romance from Alexander Asia. I love this movie. A lot of people hate the twist. I like the twist, and I love the rich visual quality of this movie. Fantastic. Speaking of Alexander Asia, The Hills Have Eyes. This has part 2, which I haven't seen, but the set itself was the cost of one movie. Part 1 is what I'm getting at. One of the best remakes ever. In fact, better than Wes Craven's original. I said it. I'm sorry, Wes. I love you. But that's how it is. Honeymoon. Like a kind of like a married couple's take on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Really good performances. Excellent movie. Very underappreciated. Hostel, Hostel 2, Hollow Man, and Hollow Man 2. I like 3 of these movies. They're not great, no, but, you know, sometimes you don't have to be great to be likable. Hollow Man 2 can eat my asshole dry. It sucks. It's not good. House of a Thousand Corpses. Possibly Rob Zombie's second best movie. It's really good. It's a psychedelic take on 70s psycho family horror with a tongue planted firmly in cheek. And it's a love it or hate it affair, but I actually like it. House of Devil, Ty West. Slow burn satanic panic horror. Great movie. Next, the Insidious movies. There's part 3, there's part 2, and there's part 1. I do plan on getting part 4. I just haven't yet. Part 3 is my least favorite, but I like all the others. Great flicks. Interview with a Vampire. Neil Jordan's take on the Anne Rice classic with a fucking amazing cast. Great movie. Great movie. In the Mouth of Madness. Possibly my second favorite John Carpenter movie. What an amazing film. Oh, man. Carpenter does Lovecraft? Yes. Please. Please. Next. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The Donald Sutherland 70s version from Philip Kaufman. This is my favorite version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And there's been many. Fucking amazing. Next. Joyride. Pretty good little thriller there with a lot of horror influence. Krampus. Christmas horror romp. Better than Gremlins in my opinion. Sue me. Next. Land of the Dead from George A. Romero. Very underappreciated effort from the Romero man. He finally got to do big budget zombie mayhem, and you know, we should have been happy for him, but a lot of people weren't. I love it. Last Exorcism 1 and 2. The first one is a found footage horror film. The second one continues the story only in the more traditional fashion. Really love the first one. I thought it was a cool take on the exorcism, genre, and the character of the priest is usually clean cut. Here he was a con man. I like that approach. And I actually really ended up liking part 2 as well, though it is very different in a lot of ways. So there's that. I'm going to end the video here, and stay tuned for part 2 coming soon, coming right after this probably, and we'll continue on down the line.